Hey, folks! Welcome to another episode of Bluecoats, the Ghoul Case on Actual Play. Uh, I am Strash, he, him. I am one of the Actual Play hosts, and I am here excited to get to play my Bluecoat Drav Aran a little more. Last week there were some wildly terrible decisions. This week my goal is not to get Ogre's family killed. So that's something I'm excited about. Lauren, how about you?
Yes, I am Lauren. I use she, they pronouns. And oh my gosh, this is so much to be excited about for this session because there's like potties and like high society intrigue and ghosts. And I'm like all about all those things. So I couldn't be more excited. Judd.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm in the middle of a gaming marathon that is I have not been on since probably college. I played this game called Band of Blades all day in a face-to-face game, which was really fun. And now I get to play Blades in the Dark. So if I ask anybody like, "Hey, who's the quartermaster? I don't understand what's going on," you'll know why I'm really confused. And the good news is that uh, I've got the positioning effect thing down. I think I'll remember that. I'm not going to forget that. So, yeah, risky sender. Let's do this.
All right. Uh, do you want to do a? Do we want to do a quick recap here of last time?
Yeah, I think last time add anything that you would like, but you figured out through illicit ghost magic, that Warden Morlin had ordered the hit on the Lampblacks who were transporting the drug known as ghoul or ghast or ghost shit, and but lied about it to your faces, and uh, you basically got a warrant for her arrest for the murder, which is not directly related to your case, but it's kind of tangential, and we'll see where that leads. And you know where Warden Moreland will be because there's a party in Brightstone tonight. And I think that's where we'll start, with you all kind of gearing up to head to the party back at your precinct. And I've got a good idea for the engagement role, so I'm excited for that. I've been excited about that since like 2 weeks ago after our game ended, and I was like, "Ooh, I know what the engagement role means. I know exactly what it means." So I'm really excited. Did I miss anything? Oh, and I've got to say, Drav's awesome, where one of Warden Moreland's thugs named Cross Anastock came and put a gun on Drav, and Strash rolled double sixes and punched Cross out and held him down and cuffed him. And my buddy Aaron was watching that, and he said that when when double sixes came up, he jumped up out of his computer chair and like fist pumped the air. So it was a good moment, but there were many good moments. So anything that I miss? Any like moments that you want to highlight from last week?
Uh, do you have one, Lauren?
I was just trying to think. That was a really good recap. The only other thing I can think of, and it's not super plot relevant, but it's like all the cool, like blue ectoplasmic ghost stuff, like stuck with me for the whole 2 weeks after that game.
Uh,
Nice.
I have to do this like uh before people click a skip recap. I have to be like last time on the Ghoul case. I was seeing horses and the inspector sitting next to like one of the like highfalutin, I think it is Severosi consulate heads, and talking to people like the magistrate, her purple eyes glittering as she presses Ogre for information. Those that and me making little squeaking noises internally as I saw an entire gang of people about to murder us in the prison. So, yeah, those were some fun times. So,
Super
It was
fun.
good.
all right. Well, Judd, do you want to kick us off with this Do you want to kick us off with this fortune roll?
Engagement?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the engagement roll, we're going to start it. Usually I would start right at the, in at the footsteps of the party, but this is a different one. So I'm going to say that you both are at the office. Um, you can decide how many other blue coats you want to wrangle in to try to if you want some muscle, and you're kind of getting your paperwork and everything together, and that's where I'd like the entanglement roll to start.
All right. Do we? So you want the actual entanglement to start like back in the office,
Oh,
like before
oh
we
no,
go to the
not
party?
not entanglement. I'm sorry, I'm missing up my e words. Engagement roll.
Engagement. You want the actual engagement trouble to start back at the office? Is that's what I'm hearing?
Yes,
All right.
that is what
Oh,
you're hearing.
wow.
Yep.
This is way earlier than I expected. I thought that we would be in the middle of partygoers before things went south.
Oh no, way earlier.
How do you want to play this, Inspector? Do you actually want to wrangle up a whole gang of bluecoats and like go marching in and do like the jackbooted thugs kind of entrance, or do you want to go in, have it be a party, and then just like cause a fracas in the middle of it?
I'm always such a fan of like the latter, like
Okay.
sort of getting that kind of Shadowrun-esque, like, oh, we're just gonna try and infiltrate a party and then it all goes wrong. But I could be open to like the sensible thing, which is like, bringing some extra people along for some backup. Um,
Yeah,
uh,
I don't want to spoil Judd's happy engagement roll time. So I think maybe that's a thing. I think that we talk to some people. The mandate currently doesn't actually have like a crew associated with it. So since we don't have like a cohort to come with us like by default, maybe that's a thing we can do. Can we make a roll? Or do you want us just to like fictionally say that we're trying to convince a couple of people to come with us?
Either one. Let's do the engagement roll and see how that's going to tell us a lot about what's going on in the office. So let's do the engagement roll and see where we are, and then we'll go from there.
Judd, I think your audio is it's really weird because you were smooth as silk like through the whole check and like when we went live, but like
Yeah.
you're
1 second.
okay.
Janaki, I think something that you're doing on the computer is slowing me down. I'm sorry. 1 second. I've got.
Go for
Is it
it.
better now?
Not yet.
Okay.
it's okay. I'll give us more time to plot.
Yes.
So let me
turned on-
let me ask Lauren a question while we're
What?
here. Do you want to go in?
Yeah.
Do you want to go in with like heavy loads and like bearing our weapons and arms, or do you want to?
That is such a good question. I feel like from a
Do you want like fancy dress and like not a whole lot in the pocket?
I feel like Mala is the type to go into a fancy party in heavy load. So like I'm totally fine to go in like ready for stuff.
I'll see.
Oh, you sound smoother.
Is it better now?
Uh
A
oh.
little bit.
Yeah, it is. It is a little better.
Okay. It is a little better.
Well, we'll try, and if it doesn't work, we'll
Okay.
see. We might have to pause and have you reboot your router or something and see if that fixes
Okay.
everything. Yeah, okay. So Lauren, did you want to go in like light and me go in heavy, or did you want to go in heavy and me try
Oh,
and
that's a
actually
good point. Yeah, I feel
'Cause
like
we can split it. We can split the difference too if you want.
totally. Yeah, I think Drav to me seems like a heavy low kind of person, right? Like,
Okay.
yeah. I'm happy to go in a bit lighter.
No, I can make do with light. If you need me to go light, I'll have some pistols tucked away, but I mean, and manacles, and that's about the extent of what I can have. But I won't have like my riot gear on. I'll actually
my
look
gosh.
like I don't know that I can even look like a party goer. My quality of gear is not high enough that I can look fancy. But I can look fancy-ish.
We could do something in the office, I'm sure.
Okay. All right. So Judd, I think that Drav is going to try and like round up some crew. Just like see if anyone's willing to like go and flex some muscles. And he's not 100% sure that anyone's going to volunteer for this job because it does require putting yourself on the warden's radar, right? And if this, like, obviously the Bluecoats will be able to pull the warden in, but whether they can make the case stick and
Right.
or if she gets out on bail or something, she could probably make their lives hell. So, like, because no one's forced to be assigned to us, I don't know how plausible it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I'm fine with you folks just gearing up too. That's totally fine too.
also,
Just
you're
right,
smooth again, so let's
Yes.
roll
Awesome.
with it.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think Drav shows up and you've been to fancy. What kind of a party is this? Is this like a what's
it's
the
a-
theme of it?
No, I think it is the founders ball. So it is celebrating the founding of Duskfall, which is to say the bringing of Duskfall into the imperial bosom.
Okay. Uh, so is it like? I guess what I'm asking is it just like dress fancy? Is that like the dress code?
Totally,
All right.
totally. Tux and ball gowns.
Awesome. Well, I've got no ball gowns, and I managed to wrangle a tux that is not like it would be considered fancy for like normal people. It's definitely not fancy for like the elite. Like it's fitted, but that's about as good as it gets. Like Drav may know a seamstress that is skilled, but not a seamstress that like works with like silver thread or embroidery or fancy jewels or whatever. So that's about it. I do show up in a tux though, and I do point out that it actually fits my holster. So that's about it.
Nice. Nice. Cool. Do we want to make that roll?
Yeah, let's make that roll. I think you make that, or do you want us to roll?
Yeah, if you could.
How many?
I
So we
don't-
always start with one dice, and I think
Right.
like there's that whole like daring. Do we have influence? Is anybody working for us? Is anyone working against us? That kind of stuff.
Yeah, let me find those questions. Hold on.
While Jed's doing that, all I can picture at this party is like eel and mushroom parfait and like or like eel mushroom stuff with eels and that kind of thing.
These are rich people. They may actually have goat.
Oh,
Ooh.
Goat.
It's probably
Curry.
real meat,
yeah.
and it's more than mushroom wine.
Ooh, yeah, totally.
Score.
Goat puff pastries.
Okay. Sorry, it's been a little while.
No problem. It
No
should be in the
problem.
Blade's core book around. I don't want to
Yep.
misquote it, but I think it's like around page 58. And you may just want to look it up in the back.
Yeah, I'm looking. I am.
I gotta figure out what Mala's wearing to this. I feel like whatever she's wearing, she's feeling very uncomfortable in like fancy outfits. Like,
Buck the system. Wear something that you like. I mean, we are going to arrest
Oh,
someone
yeah.
after all.
we are. Oh yeah, it's. I think like I think Mala is for sure wearing like her Sivarosi cloak. I think like it's definitely a little bit blood-stained, having been passed down from like hunter to hunter in her family. Because why not appear at a fancy outing with blood on your clothes? It's very bad luck to wash it. It's like you don't wash like the memories and like the experience out of like your cloth. So that's definitely happening.
I think Drav like stares at the bloodstains because like that's not what he's expecting at all, but he doesn't actually say anything.
So I think with this engagement roll, you're kind of equaling out, right? So is the Operation Boulder Daring, yes. Does the plan's detail expose the vulnerability of the target or hit them where they're weakest? Yeah, it does. It hits them right in their privilege because she never thinks that you're going to come to them at this party. Absolutely not. So that's 2D up. Can any of your friends' contacts provide aid or insight for this operation? Take plus 1D.
Maybe like the Sivarosi ambassador, or like
if it's any contacts, it's yours. It's not mine.
Maybe. Well, that's not true because the justice did tell you about it. So I'll give you another plus 1D. So we're at plus 1. And then are there elements that you want to consider? Maybe lower tier target will give you plus 1D. Maybe a higher tier target will give you a minus 1D. And this is a higher tier target.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
we're at 1 die.
You're at 1 die.
Okay. Just well, whatever this is, I'm sure it'll be fine. It'll be fun. How's that? Here we go.
Indeed.
It'll be fine and fun.
Survey says complete fail. We start in a desperate situation.
Awesome.
That makes a lot of sense.
So Judd, how does it go wrong? Like, what is the position or what is the fiction when we start?
So you walk out of your office and you see Chief Grell leaving the precinct kind of with his hat in his hands and his head down. And walking out of the chiefing, there's somebody else in the precinct, like the Bluecoats, like it's a change of shift and everybody's kind of astir and something's up. And there's someone else in the chief's office, and he walks out, and he's a young man with slicked back hair and a slick uniform with lieutenant stripes, and he says, "Hi, I'm Chief Clave Helker. I'm the precinct chief here. You folks are running the mandate, right? Come on in. Let's talk about that. I want to talk about how I can support you better."
Oh no. I mean, what else are we gonna do here, Inspector?
Yeah. I think Mala, the look she gives him toe to head is like a very judgmental, like, you look like an eel and are probably act like an eel too. But like cordially nods and says like, "Oh, of course. Please lead the way."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Clave the Eel Helker leads you into his office. There is like Grell's nameplate is still on the desk, and he, like, as he's walking to the chair, he takes the nameplate and like drops it in a trash bin and then sits down at the desk.
So
he says,
our police chief's been replaced. Is that what I'm hearing?
That's what you're hearing.
Okay, carry on.
And he says, "So I read your file and I want to commend you on some amazing investigative work. I'm not sure I'm seeing much investigation on the Lamplacks who were moving the drugs. And I'm not seeing much investigation. I mean, we're not cracking heads. We haven't, let's take some hawkers and see what we can get them to say. I mean, this is a drug, right?"
Mr. Clave, was it?
Mr. Helker. Call me Clave.
Mr. Helker.
I'm laughing because I know that a clave is a weapon. Please continue, though.
Mr. Helker, I am sure you come from quite a fine line of offices, although I have not had the privilege of reading your file. For this is quite a surprise. We weren't expecting your appearance today.
We felt like you weren't getting enough support.
Well, support is always appreciated. However, I would in fact dissent to your opinion that we should be going after hawkers. You see, one is much better off going for the top dog, as it were, rather than messing around with peons.
That's an interesting theory. Who do you think the top dog is?
Well, that is exactly the lead we're following. And I assure you that when we have a better picture, we shall inform you as we well ought.
All right. Sounds good. I mean, I feel like I've given you what I can. If you need any help, please let me know. I just wanted to make sure that you all didn't embarrass yourselves, you know?
Why, is there something you've heard that you ought to inform us of regarding this case?
I mean, I know you've been sniffing around Ironhook a lot. And, I mean, it's a symbiotic relationship we have with them, you know?
Oh, of course. But I'm sure you said yourself you read the file. There was indeed a sniper at the top of Ironhook who was
right,
involved.
but was the sniper high on ghoul? See, this is where I'm confused. Was the Imperial mandate for a murder investigation? Because I thought it was a drug investigation.
Mr. Helger, oh gosh, I'm going to get myself in trouble.
So it's really funny because, like, for a split second, like, if the camera is focused on this, there's obviously an intense dialogue happening between these two. And Drav, the moment that Helker opens his mouth and talks about pounding the pavement, you see this, like, well, this case is done look on his face. And then when he's like, no, you can go ahead and go and try and arrest this woman. And I'm sitting here like, wait, he's going to let us go? We're not going to have to force this? And now that the two of them are going, I think Drav actually steps in for a second. He says, Chief, he like reaches out his hand and he goes, I'm the Bluecoat liaison. I intentionally do not state my name. I say, I'm the Bluecoat liaison to the mandate. And I'm like, we haven't formally met.
Of course, Dravaram.
My smile is a little too stiff.
He gets your name perfectly. He says it like your grandmother said it. That's how he says your name.
I say, oh, I'm in so much trouble. I look at him and I say, like, yeah, actually, we haven't had any additional task force members assigned to us. It's just been the two of us running the streets. And I'm like, I think that going down and talking to some lampblacks or maybe even looking at some hawkers is actually a brilliant plan. However, I think that that's a thing that we can start once we have, like, the appropriate muscle and everything else involved, say, tomorrow morning, bright and early.
Sounds good.
Do we need to do anything to convince this man to let us actually go and try and arrest the warden, or is he just, like, gloating?
He says, you all have I'm not here to get in the way of the Emperor.
Oh,
so
we're not implying that you are.
If you all have somewhere to go and you've got something to do, please go and do it. Good luck.
Well, if nothing else, I'm going to make sure that I take care of these fine threads and make sure they are like I put on my regular gear if we're going to be hitting the streets. I basically we don't have sway. How the fuck do we lie to people? Hang on.
Good point.
No, this is actually important, right? Because, like, Bluecoats aren't equipped in the same way that scoundrels/rogues are. Let me see if I can find my Roll20 window here real quick. I keep going to the wrong window because, like, the Roll20 window's in the thingy.
Yeah.
Maybe control? Intimidate, command, suppress. Nope.
Or
Relate. Consort, make a deal, or put at ease. This is perfect. I would like to relate to this man and convince him that he's done his just duty, and whoever put him in this position, he's convinced us not to go stirring trouble right before we kick indoors. Does that sound fair?
It sounds like desperate with light effect is what it sounds like.
That sounds awesome. Yes, let's do that. I will push myself already for effect so that I can get a regular effect, and I'm just going to be that relatable. Inspector, you want to help me here in some fashion?
Yeah, I think, like, this is not going to sound like too much, but for Mala, this is, like, a big deal, which is she's going to agree with you and say that Clave is doing a fine job and that they did right to put him there. She hates eels.
Double fives. So it's desperate. I do the thing, but there's a consequence.
He says, "Great. Uh, why don't you all head on out? And Drop, could you stay behind? I'd like to just have a couple words with you about your liaison duties."
Absolutely, sir. And I give I turn around and I say, I guess I'll catch you, or actually I say like I'll meet you back at our like whiteboard or whatever. But I'm giving the inspector the like, if you do not see me in like 30 seconds, you go and you go now kind of like look. Like very like earnestly I'm just like I give her the like run look, and then I turn back around, my facial expression just like back to blasé, and I'm like, I'd love to meet the new chief. Clearly you know more about me than I do about you, sir.
Maya, what do you do?
I think Mala bites her cheek a bit when she sees this look on Drob's face, but then like places a hand on his shoulder and nods and says like, "I will see you shortly." And then like sort of with her bloodstained cloak, like sort of just like cool like swish around as like she leaves and taps her hat at Clave.
Yeah, he closes the door and he sits down in the seat that Maya was in. So he's like away from his desk and he's next to you and he's like, "Oh, fucking Imperials, right?"
You don't I know it, sir?
So, Drav, these mandates don't last forever. So what I want to talk to you about is where you land after this is over, right? Because this is finite. But your career here is something that's going to last a long time. So, I mean, how does it sound to you to have your own vice squad down in the warehouses? I mean, I know that a lot of those foremen are getting away with some real terrible things, and we could use someone there to like deal with the union breakers and make sure that things are going all right.
Do I have any question? Hang on a second. No, I don't. This is not my expertise. I can't observe. I can't question. It's cool. I think I look at him, and again, this is probably just going to be a relate. I say, that's a bit of a jump. 1 week ago, I was on someone's shit list. Today, I am picking up after an Imperial officer, and now you're talking about promotion?
I think Grell
generous.
didn't have. I think Grell didn't have a lot of vision, and I think this slum in the shadow of Ironhook and the state that it's in is evidence of that.
That okay.
But what you've got to do is you've got to make sure some things happen, right? You've got to make sure Maya Tui doesn't wander in from the damn Deathlands and step in a pile of shit and then track it all over the city council chambers. Do you know what I mean?
I give the guy a little bit of a concerned look because I don't know exactly how much he knows and how much he's baiting me, right? So, like, I don't just want to be like, "Oh, anything you say, sir," right? So I look at him and I'm like, "Sir, I wish that I could promise you, do we have a moon? I don't remember if there is a moon. But I think I say, like, I wish I could promise you the blue sky. But truth be told, Maya Tui has connections and contacts that cause the Lord Governor to know my name. I can do what I can, and I will listen to what I can. And tomorrow, you'll see me here bright and early trying to push the pavement. And among other things, I still don't even know what the hell this drug does. But here's some facts that I'll tell you. I'll do the best that I can, but it's like trying to tame a Deathlands horse. I'm just not Severosi. Like, she's got the scent of something, and there's only so much that I can yank on the reins. So
okay. Well, you're her liaison, so make sure she stays safe out there. Okay. Good luck.
I salute crisply and tap a boot against the ground.
Yeah, and I think what the consequence is a level 1 harm of like fear for your, like, I want some kind of fear, like scared for your career or something like that. Like he's got his eye on you, and that was an eel threat. So yeah,
So I think that this is I think this is the moment. Well, I don't want to take this harm. Because I think I'm gonna roll I think we use conviction to overcome this because like
awesome,
conviction is the resist consequences from mental strain or willpower, maybe savvy.
awesome,
No, it's conviction. And I think basically like my will is set. Like I am. He doesn't understand why I'm doing any of this, and I'm not about to enlighten him.
awesome,
So this a person that is worried about their career is totally going to be take that fear, but somebody who is doing this because his friends and his gang got murdered over this drug is totally not. So let's see how bad this is. Hey, it cost me 4 stress, but I am not taking that fear.
awesome.
All right.
Yeah, and I think like we see you walk out and look worried for like a split second, and then you just shrug it off and like walk like a badass out that door.
Yeah, I think I think maybe even like I go into like the precinct bathroom and I like, splash some water on my face and I look at myself in the mirror and I might even actually like say like you have a good life here. You're about to fuck this up, Drav. And then like I sort of I go towards my locker and I open it and that's where my like regular uniform and my clothes are, but it's also where my medic kit is for my my cutter friend when I fix her wounds in the ring. And I like stare at that kit for a hot second, then I just like slam the door shut and go stalking out. All right,
Cool.
I'm gonna catch up to you, Inspector. I'm taking a trauma
nice.
this session. It's very, very likely. Let's go.
I was gonna say I like the idea of when you shut the locker, like that's when Maya appears, like
Yeah, like she's reflected it in.
yeah, like well, I was worried about you.
All I say is we're good.
Hat nod. Oh my gosh, where to now? I have so many ideas.
The party.
The party,
The
excellent.
party. Well, actually,
Yeah.
we can't let any of the cops know that we're going, because that's going to alert them. And I tell you that. I'm just like, we're going to have to play this fast and loose. They're going to have guards that are going to outclass us, so we're not going to be able to allow this to go to violence. I'm like, I hope you have some tricks up your sleeve, because I don't know that I can take on like a dozen people.
Okay, good society is scary, but it's got nothing on the death lines.
Oh, to have the confidence of a Severose. All right. Lead the way.
Excellent.
All right.
Awesome.
So is this where we load up and stuff?
Yeah.
Or great.
Well, actually, we don't have to pick our gear. We just pick the load that we're
The load,
taking,
yeah.
right? So,
So,
I'm just going light. I'm gonna look like I'm gonna be able to blend into society and look like a normal person.
Ooh. I'm tempted to go. I'm tempted to go normal and try and play it off like I'm Severosi. I don't understand your fancy parties. Just have some more gear. Yeah, I'll go normal. I think.
All right, let's
Cool.
go.
Yeah, and I think the next smash cut is you folks outside of a mansion.
Do we have an invite?
I don't know. Did you have an invite?
I got
That's a-
shown. Yeah, I got shown an invite, but I was not like personally.
Oh no, actually, so that's super confusing. So that was a parlor party, and I'm sorry, that's really really confusing. That's a parlor party
Yeah.
that features the drug, and that's actually going to be like next week. This is the ball for the city founding, the city imperial founding. I'm sorry, that is super confusing.
I can't do this because I do not. I mean, well, technically I can, but it's going to cost me way more stress than you. I'm sorry. I've got. If you see like wisps of fur, I've got a little cat that's being petted off screen. But what you can do is you can say flashback. I'm holding an invite.
I was gonna say like flashback to like it's gonna be out riding horses with the ambassador, right? And we do like the pass off for the invite. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, that's
with the
that's not.
Dicklands wind blowing in our cloaks.
Yeah, I don't even think that costs you any stress. Like that's just like she just hands it to you. Um, yeah, there are a lot of people walking in, so they check it. Uh, they kind of assume that Drav is your manservant or your groom, and show you on in.
Drav is remarkably quiet and allows them to assume that.
I think Maya just like sort of swans in as if she belongs there, even though she sticks out a fair bit compared to all of the other party goers here.
Yes, yes, yes,
So what's the
and
play? Do we
Yeah.
do we confront her and be like, Warden Moreland, you are bound by law? Like meet her in the back? Do we try and like pull her aside and manacle her in the shadows? Do we like talk to the head of the party? This is your scheme here. You probably know this better than I do.
Oh
there's
yeah.
there's an ice sculpture of the original Six Towers that
Of course there
they're,
is.
they're like
Beautiful.
they're like 4 foot tall. I mean they're huge.
How do they even make ice? I mean, I'm sitting there like staring at it, like, wow, that's really cool.
Just don't put your tongue on it.
Oh no, I'm
You'll get stuck.
Travis a bit savvy. He's just like, holy shit, I don't even know where to buy a refrigerator unit on the black market. This is some fancy shit.
Yeah, I think there are a couple of ways. I think like it would be sensible to like try and get her into like a quiet space, whether that's like shoulder tapping like a server to say like, oh, can we meet her over there, or like you just to come up with some kind of story to get her somewhere else, or just like follow her until like she's in a kind of quiet area, or yeah, as much as I want to take her down in the middle of the ice sculpture.
Well, you could also observe and see if she's got any backup, which I
Oh,
don't.
that's a good idea. Yeah.
This is stuff you're good at, stuff that I'm not good at. Like you could read the room, figure out sort of how people are going to react.
Yeah, that's a good
Do a
idea.
setup.
I will read the room. Which I think is just encapsulated fictionally, like that sort of Sherlockian, like look around the room, like close up on her purple eyes as she
Yeah,
scans the area.
awesome.
Oh, what's my position?
Uh, go on.
I just realized that was a desperate savvy roll, so I marked an XP. Carry on.
Yes. Uh, uh, I don't think anyone's noticed you yet. I think you're in a controlled great. I mean, I think you're like in a great spot. Yeah.
Excellent.
Take it away.
Well, let's see how this goes.
Crit is how it
Oh.
goes.
I read the crap out of that room. It goes like a slow motion Sherlock style, is like, you know, sort of mind palace-y, like reading information
Yeah.
on what people hear.
Yeah, totally. Matter of fact, I think you walk up to like the second tier over the ballroom and like watch shit happen. And you literally watch the commander of the watch, Commander McClellan, like go up to her and tell her, I handled it. You won't get any trouble from them. Like she doesn't have guards here because she doesn't think you would ever dare do what you're about to do.
We're gonna be in such deep shit tomorrow, but I love this. Let's go.
Yes. Excellent. Oh yeah, I imagine that's like from reading their lips from across the room, right? Like that's, we get that like close up shot on like their mouths. Is like one of them like leans in super close and like whispers in their ear.
Yeah, like, and then you watch her walk into the powder room.
I think that's what I give Draw the look, right? Like from
And I give you the like, it's showtime. Yep.
excellent. Yeah. I mean, something like follow her in there, like, oh, is someone gonna stand guard? Like,
I think I do. I think like if you walk in, I close the door and or we'll see. If there's additional people in there, I'll usher them out, but we'll see.
excellent. Yeah, I think like Maya without blinking an eye, just sort of suavely walks down from her place up by the upper balcony, like into the powder room, and like shoots Drive a look over her shoulder, and then like closes the door behind her. Are we alone? Are there people here?
Yeah, there are other ladies here. Yep. She's at a she is at a mirror, and she's like fixing her hair a little bit.
Oh,
Lauren, where do you want me? Do you want me inside? That may cause a little bit of a scandal. There might be some ladies that are like, and run out. But like on the other hand, in case you get in, you know what? I'm gonna be with my back against the door. If I hear you like give a little whistle or something, like I'm sure we've worked out a signal. I'll be in 2 seconds.
I'm sure we totally have. Oh, gosh, I would have.
And I think there's some like high society shade going on, like Lady Penderin says something to her like, Moreland, I didn't know that they ever let you out of Iron Hook. And she goes, oh yes, they let me out all the time, unlike your butler, who's still my guest.
That's amazing.
And like Lady Penderin like gets up and like huffs out.
Yeah, I think like, oh gosh, I think oh, so there's still like one or two other people in the washroom, like while it's really like
I'm gonna let the crit continue to roll, and like a minute or two goes by, and it's just you two.
Outside, if somebody comes to like as if to go in, I assure them that it's only going to be a few moments, but there's something wrong with the water. It'll be up and running in just a few. If you'll please excuse us.
Excellent, thank you. I love
the
that
ice sculptures messed up the electricity, I'm sure. Carry on.
So I love that shot of like Mullen like washing her hands at the sink, like looks up in the mirror and then like sees that I'm there right next to her. We lock eyes there, right? Does she have a reaction to my presence in this place?
She says, I'd heard you were invited. How are you enjoying it?
Oh, it's been rather delightful so far. Thank you for asking, Mullen. But even more delightful that we have now made your acquaintance here. And I think I just pull out like the arrest part, right?
She turns to you like shocked, like just like disappointed, shocked, and says, really? This is the decision you're going to make?
Well, of course, Mullen. We have to get to the bottom of this, and you're somewhat in the way. If you'll be please so kind as to not cause a fuss while we escort you off the premises, it'll be most delightful.
Cool. Risky standard. Make a roll to convince her of that.
Okay. Let's pull up rolls for you. What action is this? This might be is this to convince her or to sort of want to secure her?
Generally, you declare the action, and then Judd will give you a position / difficulty. If you want to say the challenge is actually convincing her, that's some Blades foo.
Yeah. So like, tell me what you want to do to get her to come quietly, I guess, is what I should do as a good GM of this game.
What do I want to do to get her to go quietly? Yeah, I think I am convincing her. I think it's like, I just saw that shade go down. Like, people clearly care about the reputations here. And we can make this loud, or we can make it quiet. And if it's quiet, who knows?
Yeah, you talked your way into a much better position on that one. I think it's controlled standard.
Excellent. And I just have a question about like the actions. It says testifies about like sort of convincing and reporting and incriminating, but then I guess it could also be like an exploit, which is deceive, victimize, falsify. I'm not quite sure. I want to push for testify just because I have a dot in it. I'm not very savvy.
Testify.
But that's more, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's more for like when you're speaking in front of a magistrate and or like you're trying to convince somebody of the legality of documents and stuff. Because I think no, actually, yeah, no, that is a social thing. It is part of conviction. Yep. I mean, it might work. Let's ask the judge. Judd, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that works.
Excellent. I will push myself. Yeah. I'll spend my. I can spend my special armor to push myself in the line of duty, so I might do that instead.
Look at you with your fancy powers.
It's no big deal. So what was my position in effect again? Sorry. Risky.
Controlled.
Oh, controlled.
No, actually, it was risky when I was being a bad GM. Now that I've heard your spiel, I think it's controlled standard.
Cool. And I will get an extra dice. Ooh. Oh, I got a 6. I almost crit again.
Yeah, that push really nailed it. It went from at a cost and potentially a bad cost to you do it.
Cool.
Oof.
Yeah, you all get into a.
I signal drive, right? Like when I take the look at inner eye, which is like, oh shit, you're right, with like a whistle or something.
Yeah, you take Moreland's carriage back to Dunslow, and she walks into the precinct.
That was almost too easy.
No, because what we really need from her, putting her in prison is one thing. Let's say that even we can make this stick. We testify. We have enough evidence. She's going to be locked down. We need to find out why she's doing this, because she's not the cook. She's not the source. She's not where the funds are going, probably. So what we really need to do is, like, secure an interrogation room long enough to sweat her. That's a question. You may be far better than me at that. And I might be willing to, I can assist there by, like, making sure that we have a place to sweat her that isn't going to go up on the radar. So, like, we can sweat her potentially all night, and then we'll go hit the streets tomorrow morning.
Sounds
Extra
good.
coffee. How do you feel about that? Because, like, we nailed a person, but we know that she's not the end of the chain, right? Like, the investigation has to continue. So we do have 2 other leads. As much as Clave was trying to be distracting and feed us unimportant people that potentially may not have information, going to talk to the Lampblacks is actually not the worst idea I've heard. But right now, we have somebody who's much higher up and actually knows the important players in this. She's potentially going to point up, whereas going to talk to the Lampblacks is going to flush out our rows.
Yeah.
So this may be our only chance. She may spring on bail by, like, tomorrow morning. So if you want to question her, and she may know that. So if you want to question her, now's the time.
Yes. That was a very compelling case. That's perfect. So yes, locking down a very quiet interrogation room. We can talk to her. How does a friendly chit chat over some tea? Over some mushroom tea. It sounds good.
Yeah, I mean, you can brew up all the tea you want, but, like, nothing is going to make the Dunslow interrogation room look any better.
I love it.
There are like bloodstains on the wall. Like it's Dunslow is rough.
Actually, I think what we might do is we might put her downstairs in the boiler room so that people don't just accidentally come to the interrogation room or watch from the mirrors.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think we do that. Like, I'll bring some metal chairs so that it's uncomfortable as fuck, and make sure that she's, like, handcuffed to, like, some pipe.
You cuff her to a pipe?
to like, usually there's, like, a table with, like, a place to cuff the person, right? But, like,
she when you bring the manacles, she says she lights a cigarette and she says, "I came willingly. Can you just stop it?"
I guess I'm good cop. So I look at her and I'm like, yeah. Also, I want to apologize. I swear we tried looking down certain other avenues, but unfortunately, too many fucking things pointed in your general direction. I hand her a light.
Nice.
Nice.
That means you're bad cop.
Yes. I see a patent here.
I go, I'm gonna go get some coffee. It's gonna be a long night, and I'm gonna let you do your work and throw you some stress for assist.
Excellent. Yes, I think I look at her from across the top of her cigarette, like I imagine it's very dim in here, apart from like the end of her cigarette, right? And I took me to the cool cop thing of like I sit down in a chair and like cross my legs, and I'm like, I think it's time you and I had a talk, Miss Mullen. Please, would you be so kind? And I will roll to interview her, question her. Yeah.
Cool. The position is risky and low.
Excellent.
Is it 0 or is it lesser?
Lesser.
Okay, so this means that we're probably going to have to work a clock. How big is the clock to question her?
Yeah.
It may not be like easy. It could be like 6 ticks, could be 10 ticks. Who the hell knows? But how many ticks it is determines whether we should push for effect or not.
Yes.
So she has a 6-click talk. She has a 6-tick clock. And for you all getting the information. So 6 o'clock is Moreland breaks.
Okay.
But there's a 4 o'clock, and that's Moreland's lawyers get her out.
Oh.
So that's the consequences we have to resist.
Yes.
No. This is good. This is good. We can do this. I believe in you.
I believe in us. Okay. So is it? I will defer to my own foo lawyer. Is this something we should I should push for effect on?
Oh, no. Save your stress for resisting the side effects.
Resisting the side effects.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. I will just roll risky limited, right?
So right now it's safe. I already ticked a stress, but I'm gonna de-tick it. So the first time, yeah, just roll straight up and we'll see what the consequences are. Once it gets a little desperate, that's when I'm gonna start throwing some stress around. I feel like we have enough on the lawyer's clock that for right now we can just roll and see how the result comes out.
Okay.
And feel free to push.
Oh, my luck right now. I got a 2 and a 1 on my question roll.
Well, that's probably gonna put some ticks on dem lawyers and or put us in a desperate situation. So let's see how this goes.
Yeah. Let's role play it out. What is it you want to know, Outlander? And I think this puts 2 clicks on her lawyer's clock.
Yeah, it
Oh,
does.
so what? Can I resist that?
Can't you? Yeah.
Yes, whenever there's a consequence like this, you just first have to have a fictional position. So you can just say okay, look, this is how I push her so that she doesn't quite stall as long as she normally could. And as long as you do that, you can make a case to do a resistance based on whatever. Now, I'll point out that there are 2 resistances that apply here, force is out the window. But conviction, which is resist the consequences from mental strain or willpower, or savvy, which is more likely, which is the resist the consequences of deception or understanding. I'm going to cheat, but I'm going to listen to you talk. I would like to point something out. When I come back with the coffee, I'm natural born police, and one of the things that I can do is when people are trying to lie or fib to me, I can spend my special armor to negate a consequence. So,
Nice.
Unfortunately, you completely missed, which means that we're probably going to get desperate here in a second anyway, but at least I'll be able to mitigate the clock a little bit. I can armor it. So
Cool. Oh, wait, so your natural police is
Yes.
what gets rid of those clicks? Awesome.
yes, it will get rid of those clicks. We'll see how it fictionally kicks in a second. But go ahead.
Awesome.
Okay, so just to clarify, so I am resisting, or you can resist later. Oh, hang on. What's happening?
Don't worry about resisting. This time
Okay.
I'm going to tank the clicks. And the way that I'm tanking it is nobody knows where she is. People may have figured out that she's been arrested, so her lawyers have been notified. But as far as anyone's concerned, nobody's in the precinct. She's not in the precinct. They checked the interrogation room. She's not there. I thought ahead. So, that's how my natural born police kicked in. I was like, they're going to get her out on something before we can get anything out of her. I'm going to move her to the boiler room, which is why I did that. So,
Nice. Excellent.
Very
So
nice.
I just focus more on like sort of hitting toward another question roll.
Yep.
Okay, cool. I think Maya also lights up a cigarette. And tries to sort of play cool, like, look, I've got time, you've got time, we've got all evening here. Like, your lawyers aren't coming.
Yeah.
And she says, as much as I would like to spend the whole evening here in the boiler room with you, for you are quite the charming lady, I would much prefer to get down to brass tacks. What can we push her for information? Because we know that she's been involved. We know her connection to Cross.
We know that her snipers were killing those people, and we do have Cross in custody. So he's tucked away nice and safe, and he's one of our pieces of info. Plus, we actually have some evidence that we got out of him via testification or whatever, which is what got us the warrant in the first place. So you can lean on any of those.
Yeah, I think I'll lean on the fact that I understand you're a dear friend of Cross. He's been rather talkative in his time here at the station. We've learned some things. And I am an inquisitive lady. I love to learn. So if you have any other insight you would like to share with us, I'm sure we can see what we can do. And I sort of like tap at the end of my cigarette, and the ash falls down. I take another drag.
She says, "I've never heard of Cross Anathok."
We didn't say his last name.
Yeah, so I was gonna say like, oh, you seem very well
done. Very well done.
Is this a good time to roll another question roll?
Coffee?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Excellent.
All right, now I'll assist you. Spend my up to the limit stress. Next time I spend stress, which I will, I'm gonna trauma. So just be aware. Gotta save it for something good.
Oh my gosh! And it's just, what sort of position are we in for this particular question roll?
Now I think you're risky standard.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. I think I will push myself just to just try and secure some ticks on that clock.
Yeah.
I got a 5. I'm glad I pushed myself.
So that's 2 ticks, yeah?
Yes, I think, yeah.
Did you push yourself?
Yes, I
And did you account for the die from my assist, just so that I'm sure?
Shoot, I didn't. Sorry,
So,
thank you for...
go ahead and roll one additional d6.
Because you never know, it might be a 6.
It's worth trying.
It's always worth trying. Thank you.
So do we get some progress, but we get ticks on the lawyer clock, or how do you want to play that 5 here, Judd?
I think you get some progress on Moreland breaks, but I think there's 1 tick on Moreland's lawyers.
Ooh.
How's your stress there?
Mine's fine. I can take this. So I say fine. It's middling, but yeah. And I think
save your stress for pushes. Let's take 1 tick on the clock on the lawyers, because we are allowed to. We can have some ticks, just not all of them.
It's not all of them.
So we have gotten 2 out of 6. They've gotten 1 out of 4. We're about even. So let's keep rolling.
Excellent. I think like the chair creaks as like Maya leans forward on it and like takes another long, slow drag on her cigarette to watch like Mullen sweat a little bit after she lets slip Cross's name.
I sit in an ancient imperial fortress with 300 of the worst psychopaths in Duskval. If you think this boiler room is intimidating me, you have no place having an imperial mandate.
Ooh, I think what I do, right, is like, oh gosh, have I got any cool items that I can threaten her with?
I have cool items to threaten her with.
Okay, so like I think I want to like lean back a little bit so my cloak falls away from my torso. And I think like I probably have some arcane implements there from like my time on the Deathlands. And I think some of them glow like ectoplasmic blue. And I think if this is okay, because this is about to get a bit like threatening, I think I say, well, I've spent much of my time living in a literal fortress outside in the Deathlands, and let me assure you, there are ways that I know to get people to talk. And yeah, indicating that like ghost powers can maybe like sort of persuade you a little bit.
Actually, I think this is a moment where Drav actually says like, look, we're not like I don't expect you to be scared of some sort of torture. I expect you to be scared of what the people above you are going to do to you if they think you've talked. And if you think that this is not important enough of a mandate to us, that we're not going to ask you questions if we have to ask your corpse, you should think again.
Oof.
Oh, nice.
Dag. Dag.
Shit, am I rolling? Because I am rolling.
I think you are.
Okay, shit. I think this is control, right? Because that's intimidation, right? Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna. I think I'm going to intentionally trauma myself here. I'm gonna take. I'm debating whether I'll take cold or obsessed, but I'm going to push myself. And if you want to assist, you should assist.
Yes, I would love to assist.
Give me my position and effect here.
Yeah, you guys really, I mean, I don't know if you're breaking her down or breaking me down, but I'm impressed. Like, I don't know. It's really been, this has been cool. I want to talk about this at the end of the game. This has really been neat. I think this is controlled great. I mean, I think you hit on exactly what her fear is in this. And the other reason why that's a real threat is everybody involved in this at any level knows you guys have already talked to corpses, and no one really knows how.
And I'm just indicating clearly I have no friends that could do that, but the investigators Severosi, and as we all know, they do weird ghost stuff.
Right.
As indicated.
I think we're at controlled great.
All right, are you throwing a die at me?
Yes.
Awesome. This is the last roll that I can make because I'm going to trauma out because this, I think, pushes me over my limits. But let's see. No, I roll like poop.
Oh no.
I think. Well, maybe. So usually what happens in a situation like this is we may go risky and I may make the same roll. Like she may just basically call my bluff. Like you wouldn't dare kill us. In which case.
Yeah, I think that's what she does. She says, please. But you can see behind her eyes is something else.
I think there's just like a moment where symbolically I take my badge off and I set it aside and I lean in and I look her like dead in the eyes. I'm going risky with this, by the way, because I'm about to drop some truth here. And I just say like, Warden, right now I'm asking you questions. But my badge is there, and the person you're talking to used to run the streets in Tangle with the fucking lampblacks. Do you think that I'm not going to do what's necessary to figure this out?
That's amazing.
Is it
nice.
Okay? Can we get another roll?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Risky, great. Do it.
So
But, okay, here we go. Oh, man, the consequences to me are terrible.
Do you want another assist die?
No,
or...
actually, the dice continue.
the dice continue too.
Until I'm out, which... At this point, we'll see.
Yeah.
5.
Nice.
That's probably going to put shit on the lawyer's clock, which is where I'm going to disappear when I trauma. And hopefully we make some progress. So
yeah. So I'm checking 2 more off of Moreland breaks,
Rad.
And then I'm checking 1 more off of Moreland's lawyers.
Which would fill it, right?
And I think what pulls? No, you're not filled yet.
Okay.
You've got 2 more left. The
lawyers ones at 4 of 4.
The lawyers are at 2 of 4.
Yep.
2 of 4. Oh, okay. Cool.
And Moreland breaks is 4 of 6.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I think what pulls Drav out is like another Bluecoat coming and saying, Drav, I can't cover for you anymore. You got to come upstairs.
Yeah, I think I grab my badge off. Like I've got that like death stare with Moreland going, and I think I grab my badge, and it's like obvious that like my hand is shaking by the point I like walk out. But yeah, I'm gonna scuttle off and go and try and misalign the lawyers for a hot second. Lauren, bring it home, please.
Oh my God.
Roll better than I do.
I think it's a really long silence, right? Like we get the boiler drip on like the concrete floor here, and like you can just smell like this burning, like burning cigarettes. And Maya takes another slow drag. I think she finishes her cigarette, like drops the butt, like stubs it out with her boot, and says like, "Wow, Mullen, it seems like it's just you and me." And oh gosh. No, Maya's tried to break people before. I think she blinks and like, you know, the purple like sort of like her luminescent like purple eyes kind of like glow as she blinks at Mullen, and she says, and just between you and me, I don't think you're in a position to obfuscate anymore. It's a hard word. And I think that she smiles at Mullen. She's like, so please, if you would be so kind as to indulge me, I would find that I would be greatly appreciative. And I think she leans it a bit closer still, and like puts her elbows on her knees and like sort of does the pose, and says like, you can, yeah, and I think she's just like, you know, you can tell me anything. I'm all ears.
Give me a name. Give me a whisper of a
Give me
name,
a name,
and I'll look
yeah.
at someone other than you.
Yes, yeah, exactly. I'll finish up with that too. Just like, so we need is a name, any name, and this can all go away. We won't be bothering you anymore. You can continue on in your line of duty.
Cool. What are you using?
I will roll a question.
I think we've leveled back to risky standard.
Okay. Ooh. Okay, risky standard. I will push myself again.
Nice. Was that it? Yeah.
Yes. Yes, that was a 6. Oops,
Bingo.
Cool, so you get the thing, and her lawyers don't get her out quite yet.
Come on, investigator. Think. Who was there? Who was in a position to get the drugs? Who's in a position to actually use them?
Is that where we get the cool Sherlock flashback?
Yeah.
Just slow motion to like,
Yeah.
in my mind, because Laura doesn't know.
Yeah. You flash back to the bridge, and you're standing there, and I think you're smoking like the cigarette is the thing that's the same, because you were smoking there too, and you're on the bridge, and like you're looking at the scene, and it's Chief Grell on one side, and then the spirit wardens on the other.
Oh, cool.
And like, there's no ghost loose here.
Oh, that's true. There were multiple dead bodies, but no ghosts. No Deathseeker crows ringing bells and cawing. Yeah.
And you remember that, like, you remember like being there with your ambassador, with Issa, and how dense the spirit warden presence was on that side of the bridge. They had cordons up. They had carts or carriages. I keep saying carts when I mean carriages. I did that all last game. Uh, they had carriages. They had personnel. There were dozens of the masked spirit wardens all over the place, and this was not a ghost problem. It was easy to imagine that it was because the governor was here, but the governor has his own like foot soldiers. It just when you look back on it, it doesn't make sense.
Mm, neat. I'm so torn on what Maya would do and what Lauren wants to do. I think like I kind of like Maya just like booking it out if they're excited with this knowledge to go and like drag like a drive off to do
She says, I think Moreland says, "Dear, I'm sure you're very tempted to go running off with this information and use it. You've thrown your weight around, and it's gone well for you so far. Now, take these cuffs off of me and play it smart. And heaven forbid, if you ever get anyone above me in this boiler room, before you ask any questions, have Drav beat the hell out of them first. You're in Duskfall. This is an Imperial city. What is this, tea time?"
And I think Maya like goes for her cuffs and is like, of course, like I am a lady, I would not leave you down here cuffed. And of course I know how to play. I know to play it smart. I know how to play the game.
She's rubbing her wrists. She says, "I was a hired thug in all of this. I don't think the Emperor has any interest in me or my role in this. I don't know anything about Ghoul. I don't know anything about Gast. I don't want to know. What I do know is that now pump the brakes. Find out what you're trying to figure out. Take your next steps very carefully."
I appreciate the good counsel, Miss Mullen.
Yes. May I leave,
Well, of course.
investigator? Thank you.
I think like Maya sort of like bows and opens the door for her and like sort of gestures like after you.
She considers saying some really nasty things to you. You see them all go over her mind, and she just shakes her head and walks out.
You also know how to play the game smart, Miss Mullen.
Nice.
Excellent.
All right. This feels like we finished the equivalent of a job.
Yeah.
Lauren, do you want to have like a scene where we discuss what our next moves are? Because I assume like we're there's some paperwork. She gets handed over to her lawyers. Everything's fine. But like, do you wanna talk about what we do next?
Yeah, it sounds like a good plan.
Yeah, I think you find Drav again in the bathroom, right? And he's sitting by his locker and he's in his civvies, like he's about to go home, right? But he's sitting on like the bench in front of the lockers, looking like shaken, maybe despondent, that kind of thing. What do you tell him?
I think I probably light another cigarette. I think I'm probably feeling more stressed out than I'm letting on. But I think Maya says, for someone who downed Mr. Cross in a single blow, you look quite shaken for just a conversation.
You gonna question me now, investigator?
No, I have some semblance of compassion.
I think I stand up and I like fold my coat over my hand and I say, I put a lot of it on the line right now. I hope you got what you needed.
I believe we did. She gave a name is perhaps not quite accurate, but she did give some direction. I don't seem to recall seeing any ghosts at the site when we investigated.
I give you like a look, and I'm like, where are you going with this?
Out of character, like, where is this heading? Like, do we gonna go like?
Oh no, I just wanted you to tell me like, well, you can tell me the clue, but most importantly, we need to figure out what our next tack is, right?
Yeah. Is this like maybe a good time to talk to your friend again?
Oh, actually, if you like mention the spirit wardens, I'm just like the spook squad. What the fuck do they want with all of this? And if the answer is I don't know, we have to go investigate and find out. I'm just like, I don't think you understand how spirit wardens work. I'm like, my friend is not gonna be able to tangle with them. They're scary as shit.
I do not understand the political machinations that go on in this city. They seem very trite and bothersome.
Look, I don't even know if I'm going to be on the mandate much longer. After tonight, there's a good chance I'm just going to get pulled. But assuming that I don't get... Actually, quite frankly, a knife in my ribs in some dark alley, I don't know that we're ready to take on the spirit wardens. I don't even have a... Like... They are so far out of our... Like, actually, Drav is scared. Like, he's like, they're... You have to understand, they do not have the numbers or the money of someone... Like, even Ironhook has more status than them. But in terms of what they're capable of doing and how fast they can make you disappear, there's probably nobody in the city that can make it go faster than that. And as a matter of fact, he's like, oh my god, like, all of the dead people on the bridge... Like, that was probably just hushed up.
And I think, like, when you say, like, I'm going to be on the case tomorrow, Maya goes from having quite a relaxed posture to, like, quite a bit stiff. And she can't quite say, like, but I need you here. Like, I actually really like you. I think it passes across her face. And then she says, like, I don't mean to sound sentimental, but I don't know what I would do without your support on this case.
I think it's the first time that Travis just like, lady, the shit that we have just walked into. I think what he actually says though is, I think he says like, maybe we back off a little and we look for a different angle, because if we're going to go up against the wardens, we're going to need much bigger numbers than you and me. We are not going to be able to walk into their headquarters and walk out with someone like we want to. And quite frankly, if this goes high enough, they will make us disappear. I think we have to start looking in a different direction. If the Warden Morlan, was hired to be muscle and Lampblacks were killed, I think maybe we do go talk to the Lampblacks. Now, my chief wants us to, like, crack heads, and maybe it'll come to that, but I think a better tack might be trying to convince them to actually have a sit-down.
Well, the pathway to the truth is rarely straight. It's often quite curvy. So...
Is this a Silver Rosy saying?
Yes.
On Duskwall, we say that the truth is whatever the fucking Lord Governor says it is.
Oh, the city. It would be indeed. It would be. What is the saying here? 2 eels in the hand is worth 1 in the river.
I love that we're just like back and forth in sayings. Something like that.
If we can make Chief Eel happy and also learn some more about this case and its breadth, then this sounds like a good idea.
All right. Maybe that's what we try in the morning and we see how much further they let us go.
But know that if anyone were to stab you in the ribs, I would stab them back twice as hard.
Thanks, I think. I worry that by the end of this case, you may be called upon to actually back that oath. All
I
right.
could never.
Oh, you could. Just roll good. All right. Do we want to take a break and then come back and we'll take a look at if we want to do downtime, then another job, or how our pacing is going to go? Does that sound good, folks?
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. Well, all of you who are there, we're going to take like a short break, and hopefully we'll see all of you on the other side.
Yes, I'm pumped. See you soon.
Hang on, I'm not quite as smooth as Sean is on this. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, vanish.